Make the ugliest face you can make. Alright, hey guys, so today I am here with my husband, Dennis, and after I posted my deformity and why I removed my breast implant video on my main channel, a lot of you had a lot of questions as to now that I have someone, I have a significant other, how is my self-confidence about it? And you know, I've been doing videos on my main channel about it, but a lot of you wanted to know a husband's perspective. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm gonna be linking the video at the top of the description. People wanted to know what was Dennis's reaction about the disease they put. So like breast implant illness. Like how did you react when I first told you about it? You obviously knew that I had implants.
Well, I wanna backtrack to when
totally.
you first got implants.
Okay.
So I was opposed completely.
Yeah.
Me and Natalie's parents were against it. And then you were pretty hard-headed and you studied and you looked into things, but I feel like when someone looks at something that they want to do, it's really hard for them to look at the opposing side sometimes.
Yeah.
So like, let's say for example, you want to get breast implants, you really look for the positives.
Yeah.
And you get really, really stuck in that. And whenever there's something negative, you either shrug it off or you're like, oh, that's not gonna be me. That won't happen, you know?
Yeah,
but it's important to also understand that there's a lot of negatives to a lot of things, right? Right? But you're gonna buy a house, well, you're gonna owe a lot of money. And like, you have to think of the other side of things.
But there also wasn't a lot of information online as like there is now with so many women testimonies and stuff like that.
Okay, so even if you were to look for that stuff, it would have been hard for you to find it.
Yes.
Originally.
Yeah, it wouldn't have.
Your original question was...
What was your reaction when I told you about breast implant illness? So like, what was your reaction when I went up to you and I was like, Dennis, you know, I have breast implants and I feel like I'm getting all of these symptoms.
You doubt it. You have doubt because you don't want to believe that you're sick, you know? So you're kind of like, oh, are you sure that back pain or that chest pain isn't from you doing like something else, something more normal? You don't assume that it's the breast implants. But then as time goes by and like you said, the hair loss and like so many things, you're like, well, something has to be wrong. Next, I guess. I don't know.
All right, people want to know, how did Dennis react to the reveal?
I mean,
the reveal as in like when you saw me after surgery. You actually saw before.
I saw him inside of the doctor's office. You didn't even see
So can
them.
you explain that?
I mean,
Can you explain like
what do you want me to say? Well, from way before when we first started our relationship, I want to go back there. You were really insecure.
Yeah.
Completely insecure. And there comes a point in time where, like, a couple starts, you know, feeling on each other and doing stuff. But Natalie was very insecure about it all the time.
Yeah.
Completely. And so, but I don't know, like, I'm not kind of like the physical kind of person. I'm not more personality.
But you're still physical.
Yeah, but no. Yeah. But she would say that, oh, I have a deformity, or they look weird, or
I would say they look weird. I didn't know what it was.
But to me, they looked normal, you know. And I know that everyone has different breast sizes and shapes or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't think like, oh, this person has a deformity or anything like that. Like, to me, it was never a big deal.
But for the record, you never saw them before surgery.
Yeah, before.
Yeah, he only saw them after. So when I was in the process of getting my implants removed, I had asked my mom to ask the surgeon, the one that I first got my implants with, to send me pictures of my breasts before implants. And so that was so emotional for me to see my breasts because I hadn't seen them in over 5 years. I obviously hated the way they had looked and I saw them in such a different light. But now it was like, when we were going to when we were looking into surgeons to get my explant, I remember I was like, well, I have to kind of show Dennis, like, this is what he should expect, right? And I just remember we were like in LA in like this little like cabin thing, and I was like on the bed so nervous. The whole day, that's all I thought about. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to show Dennis like my real breasts. Like, I'm so nervous about this. And I just remember, I don't remember how it was, but like I think I like just gave you the phone after like much convincing from you, and I cried like a freaking baby. I had never
I just saw it and I was like, oh.
that.
And then it's kind of like just it. I feel okay.
But I need to.
I don't want this to come off as rude, right? But all of these things, all like your breast shape and everything, is very a problem that you are very, very caring about.
It's subjective to me.
Yes, and then for me, it's like, oh, boobs, oh, like shape, like it's really, really not that big of a deal. But to you, it's everything, you know. Yes. And I want people to understand, like to you, that just showing me a picture was like monumental. That was huge. Whereas to me, it's like, oh, okay, you know,
like in that moment, like you were so good at like comforting me and like it's okay, it's gonna be fine. Sorry. It was really nice. In that moment, I heard myself, like I kind of had this outer body experience where like you were hugging me and I was listening to myself cry and I was like, who is this person? Like she's so hurt. Like my cry, sorry, during that time, it was just really, it was a lot. It was very emotional to do for me. So I just feel like you always reacted very well to it and it was awesome. So
I think it's important to have someone who's a little bit more objective to things, right? Yeah. So like if you're so emotionally invested in something, you're very quick to jump the gun and pick a surgeon really quickly because you want to get it out, or maybe not you, but I know someone would probably do it really fast, or it's important to really like assess the situation. What is the right doctor? Or like that breast lift, if I'm not mistaken. How is that? What is that called?
Oh yeah, a breast lift. So we were suggested by my surgeon to get a breast lift, and it was something that we had to really talk about a lot because he said that my breast was going to point like this, like completely down. And
there was a possibility, not that it would. There was a possibility.
But he was like, it's possible. It's very, very possible. He was like, I would highly recommend you to get a breast lift. And the thing is, like with breast lift, it's a little more invasive, and if you want to have kids down the line, like it kind of doesn't. It defeats the purpose. Yeah, it goes away. It's gonna go back. Like your breast shape will just always kind of go back to normal.
But I think when someone has an explant, they're very worried about what it's gonna look like after.
Huge.
So they really, and you really think about breast lift, fat transfer. Like what
that was another thing.
What can I do in order to like repair?
Can we
what
touch on
it could possibly look like?
Yeah, so we were thinking about, well, I was really curious about getting a breast, what is it called? A fat transfer, which is pretty much where they take fat and then they inject it into the breast. But in the end, we decided, you know, just like implants, you just never really know.
If you're going that far to cleanse your body and to get rid of these things, I think it's important to like draw the line and be like, no more of anything. Yeah. Like no more. Even if it's like fat transfer comes from your body, and you just don't know what it's going to be like. You really don't
know. I mean, there's people that eventually, like, it's fat. It accumulates after into, like, lumps, and it's just a whole ordeal.
Or so it can just go away when you lose weight. Like, it's like, what is the
We just decided not to do it, honestly. Just because he was like, you should just heal, like, removing them, and then we'll see. Like, if they're absolutely, like, I think you had said that, like, we'll see when it comes. If the problem comes up, then we'll see.
So I think one of the perks of being young, right, is totally, like, different example, but for example, I have a gauge, right? If I were to remove the gauge, it's not super big. It's like, it's a medium size, but like, if I were to remove it, it'd probably go back to normal. Whereas if someone older were to remove their gauge, they'd probably have like that saggy, like, hole that a lot of people have. So I believe that if Natalie removed her implant, you would more than likely fill in properly how you were before. I hoped, and it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because you said I hoped. Did you ever have any, like, were you ever nervous about my results after? No. Were you ever?
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about it at all. I honestly didn't care about what it would look like after, as long as you felt fine. You know, that was my main concern. I think that was my concern all along, even before, like, do you feel healthy? How are you feeling? It's like not physical, like, at all.
Somebody asked, how did your husband help and take care of you after surgery?
I wiped your ass. Did I or did I not?
No,
do you want to expand upon that?
Yeah, you can expand upon it.
No, you expand upon it.
Okay, so I'll expand upon it. So when you get any type of, like, chest surgery, you'd be surprised how much you actually use your chest. Even going like this, it was agonizing. Like going like I could not. I literally could not. He had to feed me. He had to wipe me. He had to
basically anything where your hands
shower
need to lift, right? You can't lift your arms because it stretches us out. You can't push. You can't pull. Doors need to be opened.
Laying in bed, I needed him to hold me and put me in bed.
Like cradle, everything. Shower, like toothbrushing.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Shampooing your hair.
Putting my glasses up.
Yeah, everything.
Brushing my hair.
Like, can you put my glasses up? They're falling.
Thankfully, my mom was there too, and his parents were there. They were so helpful. But yeah, he helped me a lot.
Her mom was like shocked that I was showering you.
Yeah, she was shocked. It's like we're married.
It's like he sees you naked.
Did Dennis ever not show you love because of your implants?
Well, how is that phrase?
So
because you have implants, I show you no love, or did I show you no love before you had implants? I think that's what they mean.
Did Dennis ever not show you love? Well, I guess you could.
I showed you love prior, during, and after.
I feel like certain guys prefer certain things, and so like Dennis. Like, his thing is not really boobs. Like, he's an ass boy.
That doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with it. He had a flat, deflated ass. Okay, let's turn it, right? Let's say you had ass implants. Okay. And you had to get them removed. Like, I don't care. Like, that's just how it is.
But I just feel like it wasn't that big of a deal to you because...
It's none of it. None of these aesthetic surgeries matter because health comes first, you know? I'd rather live a long life with you than a life where you're like and like, what is the point if you're nagging at me? My ankles hurt, my whole body hurts, my hair, I'm bald. It's like, no. It's like, you got big ass, big tits, like waddle like a duck because you can't walk. Like, legit, if you go to Colombia, there's people that waddle because their asses are so big they don't fit in their XXX yoga pants.
Did you talk to your husband before about your insecurities? I mean, I guess yes. It's kind of
it's a big.
It kind of came up.
It's a topic that's always been like there.
Yeah, I mean, we've been dating. Wow, we've been together for 8 years, married for a year, but so definitely a lot of things come up.
And sometimes like people hide insecurities, you know, and then it comes up at the worst times. You know?
That's true. I honestly do feel like my breasts fit my clothes a lot better now than they did with implants, surprisingly. Just because my implants would sit really high and it was uncomfortable.
I used to tell Natalie that you had neck tits.
Yeah.
Because they were so high.
Yeah.
It was like legit almost at, well, not really, but like
it was,
collarbone
like
almost.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Very high up.
Like they never like...
They dropped a little bit, like maybe up to here after...
Why did they not drop?
So the reason, so first of all, my breasts were very like up here to my chest, right?
With the implant.
With that, like normally, naturally, like very perky.
Down?
Yeah, down.
Oh, sorry. So it's like down.
So we try to create like a pocket, but unfortunately, like with anything, like your body is your body. It will always do its natural thing. So the implants never really settled very well. They did drop, but not as where they were supposed to drop.
So you would say that they didn't drop all the way because of your tubular breast problem.
Yep.
Okay.
That's why.
So that was the purpose of the not dropping. There wasn't enough room down there for them to settle.
I mean, I don't really know. That's the only thing I can, you know.
Even with the breast implants, you didn't necessarily end up the way you wanted to.
Yeah. I wasn't like unhappy about it, but I wasn't like completely like satisfied. But I wasn't also to the point where I was like, I'm gonna go back and get this fixed. Like it was never like that. Somebody asked, what was the last thing that I told you before surgery?
I'm scared. I'm pretty sure it was I'm scared. I was like, oh, you're gonna be fine. I went and got coffee. Like I was good. I have a lot of trust in our medical system. You know, I think doctors are really good at what they do. You know, whether they are implanting or explanting. I think you just kind of have to have trust. I was fine. I was completely fine the whole time. I had no worries. But you were really nervous.
Of course.
You cried before, during, after.
I started crying
like all the time.
Right away. I remember the lady when we walked in, she's like, oh, what's your name? I was like, Natalie. I didn't want to go in. I was so scared. It was the first time I've ever felt like scared.
Well, for those of you, and I feel like a lot of you probably haven't had surgeries, period. It's a weird setting. Mm-hmm. It's very cold. Mm-hmm. You're on like metal table, like really chilly. And then like the feeling of anesthesia alone is very strange.
Yeah.
Some people, like for example, I've had surgery multiple times. It's like through a gas mask. Other people, it's through the IV. You feel the cold like travel through your arm. It's just really uncomfortable.
For me, I felt like a bunch of needles going down and everything getting hot like this, and I just like fell asleep. It was terrible. Like the feeling was just terrible.
So I know this again. This is a Q&A, and the questions are coming from the subscribers. But I want to ask you a little bit of things that I feel you haven't touched topic about. Sure. So I know. So you had your surgery in Colombia, right? So what was the setting like as you were going in to get implants, and how does the Colombian culture affect your thought process on it all and kind of like
terrible. I was actually highly traumatized by, I don't know if it's necessarily like Colombia, because think about this surgery was removing something, whereas I am guessing in an aesthetic plastic surgery place, it's very different. So when I first walked in to get, my breast implants, I remember seeing like very young girls, like 16, maybe like 18-year-olds, like getting their waist like done, their boobs, their butt. And it was very toxic for me. Like I was like, damn, like I was 19 and I was like, I would not be recommending that to like a 16-year-old to do that. Like they're just growing, they're just everything. And then I just remember also the day of surgery, like there was this exchange of money, which happens in pretty much all surgeries.
Even for the explant.
Yeah, even for the explant. But I actually gave the doctor like the money before. Okay. So I felt very like a material type of product. Like I felt like, here.
That's
like,
a service, this is my life. But I think it's not having that secretary that is in between that kind of makes
it didn't feel good. And then I remember when I actually went into the actual surgery, it's like this really dark gray room. And it was like a solid gray, think of like Chipotle type of tables, like freaking cold as hell. Yeah. And then I just had to strip naked and that's it. And like, I was like a piece of meat. Well, what I will say is, people say there's a lot of very beautiful ladies, a lot of very beautiful people in Colombia, right? Yeah. And I will also say there's a lot of vanity in Colombia when it comes to appearance and,
A lot of young girls get a lot of surgeries.
Yeah.
Older women get surgeries as well. I feel like a lot of older women do it to kind of keep... I feel like a lot of... No, but they're still in the dating scene. Like, it's normal to see someone in their 40s and 50s still dating in Colombia. Like, they're lots of single people nowadays. I see it so much. It's like, I feel like that traditional marriage thing is kind of going away.
See, it's like two different perspectives because I don't see it like that. I see it like people there have like families and are very like this. I don't know. It's just different. But.
Disagree to disagree.
But was Dennis there for the whole process? Yes. How supportive was Dennis of your decision to remove your implants?
I remember we were on tour. And I mean, you have been telling me about the explant for a long time.
Yeah.
Explant was always something that was pushed aside, usually because of work, and it was very difficult to find the time to be able to do it because obviously if you explanted, you would have to be out, of which we almost still are. I feel like we haven't really been in on it for since then. Yeah,
I've been really healing.
But it was always like that side thing that we were always like, we need an explant, at some point. Mm-hmm. So I remember we were on tour and you were having a really hard time. Mm-hmm. You were sick.
Yeah.
I think it was unrelated to the breast implants, but it really kind of made you, it was like a normal cold. Like you had a cold and you're just not feeling good and you were like, let's start exploring doctors and stuff.
I remember
So then, since Natalie's the one that's obviously on stage and working and filming and whatever, I usually do like our side, like paying bills or whatever, or a lot of like the day-to-day activities. So Natalie showed me that one webpage where they had a list of like all these explant doctors. Yeah. And then I wrote down the like top 3 most recommended. And then I contacted one in Tampa, which is the lady that wrote the book that you read.
No, it was someone else. That wasn't her.
No? Who was the lady that wrote the book?
Some other Susan Kolb. But it wasn't that lady.
Okay, well, did I think I contacted that lady as well.
Okay.
I contacted this clinic in Ohio. It's like an Asian lady. Yeah. And then I contacted Dr. Chung in Newport, California. And everyone was completely like booked mad long term. It was really difficult. And then for some reason,
for one reason or another, to get an appointment.
Dr. Chung just seemed to be the one that kind of like responded the quickest. Everything kind of went by really smoothly. And then we had to fly to consultation. We had to do all these things.
Which was fine.
No, it's a part of the process, you know? But just being able to put it in our schedule was difficult. And that's why I feel like we kind of delayed a bit. Mm-hmm. But then once we got the ball rolling, I feel like it really worked out. And then
everything worked out way better.
You managed to get all your paperwork from Colombia, although that didn't really, I guess, wasn't very necessary at the end of the day. Do you think? It didn't really. I think once the doctor's like in it, like working.
I guess he just wanted to know. He really just wanted to know what the type of brand was. I wanted to show you this little quick video. Remember the one of the day of this one?
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, how did you, because see, I posted this on Instagram and everybody was like, oh my God, Dennis is so supportive. Like, he just knows what to say. Like, how did you really didn't know what to say. Like, in my own head, I was like, wow, like, he's not messing anything up. Because I was so emotional.
Well, and I went to school to be a doctor.
Yeah.
You know? I always wanted to do that type of stuff, and then obviously YouTube happened, but I've had my fair share of bloody, gruesome. My knee was pretty bad. I've had my nose, like, I'm pretty okay with blood, you know, and all of that kind of area.
Yeah.
And then I feel like you just have to be really calm when things like that happen.
But this was different, though. That's
well, no, like, I was really calm. I felt fine the entire time. I'm about that. Like, I'm good at, like, unwrapping stuff, seeing stuff. I'm like, I'm okay. Are you not?
No. I mean, when it's your own body, you're, like, scared. But my thing was more like, you were so supportive and, like, you had the right words to say to me. Like, I remember I was like, Dennis, but I'm scared. And you're like, well, I was like, I'm afraid how it's going to look like. And you're like, well, you know, it's not going to look immaculate, but... like, like you were just very.
I mean, you want to be supportive of whether the outcome is bad or good. You just you want to make the person happy, you know. So you have to be kind of delicate with the way you say things.
Yeah.
Although, which way it would have turned out, I mean, that's just how the dice fell, you know. Like, you don't know. It's whatever. That's at that point, like. If that nipple's pointed down, it's pointed down. I'm like, oh well.
I don't know. So as a husband, to let's say other husbands whose wives also want to explant, what is some advice or suggestions that you have for them?
Well, I think, first of all, for people that are single, that are going through this, it must be really hard. You definitely need a parent or someone, or a friend, because I know not everyone's like this with their parents. You definitely need help. It's definitely not something you can go through by yourself. It's really hard to lift yourself when you're going through surgery like this. You really need, like, brushing teeth, like we had said originally. And when we were at Dr. Chung's office, the majority of women were with their significant other, like husbands and stuff. And they're all the same, very timid, quiet, supportive, kind of just by the side of the woman. The woman's the one that's like, I want these out. They're really like breast implant illness and like all these things.
Because I think there's a lot of guilt attached to it, you know? Like, that was one of my biggest things. Like, when I was looking at myself for the first time, I was like so sad because I saw myself go through this once and be so happy about it. And then to be like, at this point, it was really just sad. But what about to the husbands that are not like as supportive, or maybe just need some advice on like how, like, what do you
mean by not as supportive? Explain to me.
Well, there are husbands who literally like leave their wives because of this.
I don't think that's right, obviously.
Yeah, well, at that point, I don't think there's a suggestion
I think,
to say.
Well, health is first, right? So if you're willing to leave your significant other because of like a decision that would, I guess, change their appearance or whatever, then that's kind of shallow, you know?
What I want to really say is like advice for people, like what they don't know is about to come. Like what is something that you learned, or...
I mean, once you got out of the hospital, you're like a baby. You couldn't do anything for yourself, you know? Like, just expect to really be next to the person.
Yeah.
for their needs for like the next week and a half or two, and it's tough because you're like, change the TV channel. I don't want to watch Jane the Virgin no more. Can you put something else? Can you lay me down over there? I'm tired of being over here. And then like you would walk around because you were supposed to walk.
Yeah.
And then I would be like behind you in case you like tripped or fell or something. You know, like you just expect to be next to them, like attached to their hip for like the next week and a half or 2 weeks.
All right, guys, so that is all for today. I just wanted to say that if there's anything that we didn't answer or anything like that, you're more than welcome to always reach out to us on Instagram or on Twitter right here, or just leave a comment down below letting us know what we should answer. Yeah, I just wanted to say Dennis is such a supportive and amazing husband, and I love him so much. And I'm so happy that I have him in my life. And I'm so happy that I've been able to share this with you guys, and you guys have been so supportive about this all. Any last words for you, sir?
Don't get an implant.
Damn.
Because then your boyfriend,
really
your husband have to help you when you get him out.
That's it?
Yeah, it's unnecessary. Don't do it. From my perspective, as a dude, you know, I see it as an unnecessary risk. Okay, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you want more videos like this one in the future. We're gonna be vlogging more often. We are also going to New York soon
with our parents.
So we're probably gonna vlog some of that and show what we're up to more often.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.